superheroes, to the Dandy Bugle, where I, Dandelion, interview members of the real-life superhero movements on their involvement with hero work and public community service. Today we have the animal joining the crime scene, wearing their amazing cat animal super suit. Welcome, darling. I hope you're doing well today. Why don't you introduce
Yeah,
yourself?
thank you. Yeah, I am the animal, real life superhero. I have been a real life superhero for well over a decade, closer to 2 decades now. Um, I mainly focus on homeless outreach. When I first started, I was doing a lot of litter patrol. Um, and then earlier in my superhero career, I was doing a little bit of crime prevention, but I don't do much of that nowadays.
So to get started, I would like to ask, who is your favorite fictional superhero, and who is your favorite non-fictional superhero?
Um, oh man, fictional superhero. That's tough. Spider-Man is a huge inspiration. Captain America. Um, I mean, the Beast was my favorite X-Men. Um, and then on the DC side, you got Superman, you got Batman. I love characters like the Flash. There's just too many for me to pin down one singular favorite. But if I were to give you probably an answer you probably won't hear often, Power Rangers.
Oh.
Huge Power Ranger fan. Yeah. And as far as the non-fictional superhero, um, man, if we're going real life superheroes, um, whew, it's hard for me to say anyone other than um, one of my best friends and longest running partners, Reverb. Um, Reverb, he's been through a lot, and he always gets back up and does anything he can to help others, and it's pretty inspirational.
What inspired you to join the RLSH community? Was it your favorites?
Sort of. So I didn't really have um, the strongest of role models growing up. So I turned to comic books, and the superheroes that were on the pages, they they helped shape the idea of right and wrong for me. And it was about my freshman year of high school when I kind of decided that I want to be that inspiration to others, and I want to protect them from things that I went through. Um, and so, yeah, it was comic books that kind of inspired me to become a superhero in my own right.
When did you join the RLSH community? How did you find this group?
Uh, so when I started, I didn't even know the real superhero community was a thing. Um, I I knew that I wanted to do something with the code name Animal, um, and it wasn't until my senior year of high school that I decided to create my first super suit, and go out there and try to do some good. But I remember thinking to myself, like, there's no way that I'm the first to think of this. There's no way that I'm the only one out here trying to dress up as a superhero and do good. So, with a little bit of research, I actually discovered the real life superhero community after I had already started myself.
What
Yeah,
is your favorite part of being in the RLSH community?
the community. I mean, I I can only do so much by myself. Um, and the saying goes, many hands make light work. Um, and that's very true. the more people come together to work together for the same goal, the easier it is to achieve that goal. And on days where I feel a little lonely, or I feel beside myself, I know I could always reach out to one of my superhero brothers and sisters, and always have someone there.
What is your least favorite part of being in the RLSH community? Like, what's something that you could change or you would change if you could?
My least favorite part of the whole real life superhero thing, it's honestly probably the same thing anyone can say about anyone, is feeling like you can trust someone just to find out later, oh, I probably should not put my trust in that person. Yeah, that's not unique to being a real life superhero, but it seems to happen more often when you invite people to wear a mask and invite them to become someone that may not necessarily be themselves. You tend to run into a lot more people who should not be doing that.
Mm, that makes sense. What was your first mission like? How did you feel going into it?
My very first mission, I believe this was before I discovered the community. I was doing a litter patrol, uh, and I remember cars going by and yelling at me through their window, um, you know, that I look like a loser and whatever, just being dumb when all I'm trying to do is clean up trash. Then I remember that there was a red truck that slowed down, and I think to myself, okay, here we go. But it was a woman, and she said, thank you for what you're doing. And that left me speechless. All I could come up was a two-fingered salute, and I still do that to this day now. But that moment was the first time I did a two-fingered salute to someone, because I couldn't say anything else. And that feeling, not that I do it for thank yous, not that I do it um, for praise, but that feeling that, okay, I am doing good and people can be appreciative of it. That was the greatest feeling in the world.
How do you decide where to patrol and do outreach?
Oh, that's a great question. So my team, the Heroes Alliance, we travel to many cities: Fort Wayne, Indianapolis, Chicago, Detroit, Lansing, Kokomo, Muncie, Marion, many places we travel. And we pretty much see where the need is. If we haven't been someplace in a while, we'll try to say, hey, we haven't been to Indy in a little bit. Maybe we should try to do a mission over there. Or, hey, we haven't given out care packs in Muncie. Let's try to team up with someone over there. And then usually when we have leftovers from those missions, we'll say, okay, let's plan a Fort Wayne trip then. And Fort Wayne is kind of where we always go back to after a mission. Why we choose this place, again, it's just if we haven't been there for a while. How we first found those places, it first started out just what we knew about. Fort Wayne's a bigger city. Indianapolis is a bigger city. Chicago, Chicago host's been going on there for a while. So we knew those places, but other places like Marion, for instance. My wife actually found a post on Facebook of someone talking about the homeless population there, and she got me in contact with the person there. So we use many resources. A lot of it's word of mouth, and we just do the best we can to help wherever we can.
What kind of tools do you carry on you when you patrol?
Okay, so on my utility belt, which you asked me to introduce myself, and I didn't even do my classic introduction. It is just
You
hitting
didn't.
me. I apologize. So, real quick, we're going to pretend I'm introducing myself again. I swear I don't normally do like a superhero character, but this intro's fun, so bear with me, audience. All right. It is I, the blue beast, the cobalt creature, the animal. All right. And what I carry on my utility belt, typically I have pepper spray, which in all my time of being a real life superhero, I've never had to use this pepper spray, but I always carry it on me. Obviously, when it expires, I get a new one, but I always carry pepper spray on me just in case. So thankful that I've never actually had to use it, but I do have it. I will have I used to carry a first aid kit on my belt, but now I carry a bigger first aid kit just in the trunk of my car and make sure it's close by when I do a mission. Let's see, flashlights galore. And these flashlights also double as external battery packs, so I could charge phones or devices or whatever. Let's see, I used to carry some zip tie cuffs just in case I'd have to do a citizen's arrest or something. Again, I have not done a crime patrol for quite some time, and I've never had to use any zip cuffs ever, so those have also been removed from my belt. If I'm being completely honest, besides the pepper spray and the flashlights, my belt really is there for the superhero look than anything anymore. I would like to change that. I would like to find some better tools for the job. And I do change up. So when I do litter patrol, I'll keep trash bags in a pocket. But I would like to find some ways to put more tools in my belt so it's more functional than fashionable.
What is the strangest thing you have seen on a mission?
The strangest thing I've seen. That's a tough question. I want to say it was strange necessarily, but it was probably the closest thing that I've come to some sort of crime prevention or whatever. It was the night that I actually met Reverb, and the night that we decided to create the Michigan Protectors. I was walking around with a real life superhero, and we were looking for some lost keys or something like that. And we hear some shouting and banging on a door, and we walk up to the scene. Mind you, at this time, my super suit looks more like regular clothes than actual super suit. And so I wasn't necessarily coming across as a superhero. But I heard this banging, heard this yelling. I walked up and I was like, hey, what's going on? And apparently their roommate had locked them out, would not let them back in to get their stuff. They were being kicked out. And so we just kind of spoke to them and tried to de-escalate the situation until the police arrived. And when the police did finally arrive, again, I did not necessarily look like a superhero, so I don't know what inspired the police officer to say this, but he said, "You guys were real heroes tonight." And again, that was just such a great feeling to hear that kind of validation.
Do you think that the super suit is necessary for hero work?
I would say yes, only because you call it hero work.
Mm,
Is it necessary to do the work? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Anyone can go out and and pick up trash or help the homeless. Um, but now I'm going to do some cross promotion to another one of your videos. I'm actually quoted in an article that was just released on your channel, talking about this very thing of why the super suit is important. So please, audience, go check out that video to get my full answer on what I think about super suits.
do you think that physical training or martial arts is necessary for hero work?
I would be a hypocrite to say yes, and I know others have said that. I've watched some of your other interviews, and I know others have said that they would be a hypocrite to say yes. Um, when I started, I definitely did not have any training. I was a high school kid going out just trying to do good.
Mm.
To this day, I have 3 whole days of mantis style kung fu training, so I'm good to go. No, I'm kidding. um, but no, other than those 3 days, I've not had any martial arts training. I would like to. I have been looking into Brazilian jiu-jitsu, um, and I would say it's not required, but heavily recommended,
Mm.
especially if you're going out and doing crime patrol. You need to be able to defend yourself.
Do you think that keeping a secret identity is necessary for hero work?
Absolutely not. Um, there are many very, very great real life superheroes that do not have a secret identity. Um, and they do amazing work. Good Samaritan, for example. Um, I do believe he has a public identity. He at least doesn't wear a mask. Um, you can still inspire people that way, but when people think about him, it's Good Samaritan that's inspiring people, not his civilian name. Um, so while I don't think that the secret identity is necessary, it's definitely helpful.
Mm.
Um, but the reverse can be said too. Um, one of the reasons why I'm semi-public with my identity is when it comes to getting donations or supplies or to get companies to work with you, they want to know who they're working with. They don't want to trust the mask. They want to trust a person. And so being able to share my identity in that way is so very helpful to being a real life superhero.
Mm. That makes sense. What makes a hero in your eyes?
A hero is someone who steps up and does the right thing even when no one is watching. A hero is someone who, oh man, I'm having a hard time with this question because I take on the superhero title and I do the best that I can with that title, but it is so hard for me to fully wrap my head around the idea that I am a hero because I just do the small acts of kindness that anyone should be doing. And the sad part about today is doing something as small as cleaning up a park. In my mind, that makes a hero because in today's society, that's just something that goes so overlooked, unfortunately. Um, so anyone that stands up and does the right thing, in my mind, is a hero. Big or small, it doesn't matter. If you are doing what you can to make the world a better place, you are a hero.
That's a good answer. How do you manage mission anxiety?
Mission anxiety. Um, I don't really get anxious to go out. Maybe I did at first. Uh, Again, I've been doing this long enough to where there are a lot of things about early missions that I just don't even think about or remember. I do remember early on, we had to kind of go through these drills of as soon as a police officer pulls up, masks off, we're not trying to hide ourselves from the police whatsoever, where we're trying to comply. Um, and we used to get stopped by the police a lot early on. I haven't been stopped by a police officer to check my identity in such a long time that I don't even think about that anymore. Um, but I can guess that I used to get anxious about that aspect. But going out and doing the work as the animal, I've never really been anxious about that. Um, I've gotten excited, and I usually get really amped up before a mission. Um, I've left many missions with something that I've coined as superhero syndrome, where I am down on myself because I feel like I could have done more in some way, even though in all reality I probably couldn't have. I probably gave all that I could give. But anxiety is never really something that pops up for me for a mission.
What was the inspiration behind your suit and the animal persona?
Very good question. So blue is my favorite color of all time. Black is a great complementary color. As far as the name of the animal, back when I first started, um, it kind of was an idea of a superhero generator, where you would pick your favorite animal and pick your favorite color, and that was your superhero name. So, if your favorite animal was a tiger and your favorite color was green, then you were the green tiger.
Mhm.
Well, I didn't really have a favorite animal. I love a lot of animals for a lot of different reasons, and the idea of just calling myself Blue Animal didn't really sound right, so I just went with the animal. Um, and as far as why this look, I don't know. I always thought a cat like persona just kind of always went with it. All my designs had like tiger stripes on them, and I don't know. I always loved the look of Black Panther's ears. So I knew I wanted cat ears on my mask. Um, yeah, it's just personal preference.
Are you currently on, or do you ever plan on becoming a part of a superhero team?
Yes, as I've stated, I've been on many teams, and I'm currently on the Heroes Alliance. I am one of the original members of the Heroes Alliance. And it was about coming together as a family, essentially, and getting the work done, and getting a lot more work done than I can do by myself. I absolutely love every member of the Heroes Alliance, and I can trust them with everything.
Mm.
Um, yeah, we
Are they,
all know, everyone on the Heroes Alliance, we all know each other's secret identities, if they have one. And we all know that we can reach out to each other for anything. And we'll always have each other's backs.
Hmm. Does the Hero Alliance or Heroes Alliance have any villains in your rogues gallery?
See, now you're talking more comic book stuff. In my experience, you don't really get super villains like they do in the comics. You get the super villain you're fighting is apathy. Um, you know, a lot of people, they will see someone in need of help and just walk on by. We don't allow for that. We help everyone we can if we can. Um, and yeah, I don't foresee us ever having to worry about a a serious villain. Now we might one day, someone making a villain combat the Heroes Alliance, um, but I doubt we would ever have to take that person seriously if that ever happened.
So what was it like being a part of the Extreme Justice League, and how was it that it formed the Heroes Alliance eventually?
Yeah. So there was five of us that were a sister branch of the XJL. We call ourselves the Heartland branch. Um, and being a part of the XJL was awesome. You know, when when the Michigan Protectors ended, um, there was some unfortunate circumstances that surrounded that. I'm not going to get into it here, but it is all public record. If you Google the Michigan Protectors, you could read about um, our leader and what happened with that. Um, Reverb and I kind of felt like we were in the shadow of that for a long time. And getting invited to come onto the XJL, it was it was validating for us, to feel like my and unfortunately when the XJL had to shut off all of their sister branches, admittedly that did hurt. It felt like everything that we improved about ourselves, kind of just didn't matter. Now that's just our feelings. That's not actually how the XJL was viewing us at all, and we do understand that. There's just stuff that happened behind the scenes, that they had to cut off the sister branches, and we totally understand. No bad feelings there. But with that, the XJL Heartland team knew that we were a team. We knew we were going to stay together, so we had to rebrand, and it took a lot of voting, a lot of conversation, to finally land on the team name and the team symbol, and all the bureaucratic stuff that really doesn't matter when it comes to doing the work, but it matters to telling people who you are so they can support you in doing your work. Um, yeah, we just landed on the Heroes Alliance and have been running with that ever since.
So, as far as I'm aware, the Heroes Alliance organizes Chicago Hope, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
What is that process like?
So getting into some more history there, it was the team called Patch that used to run Chicago Hope. Patch uh, kind of disbanded, sort of, with the introduction of the XJL Heartland. It was two of the members of Patch kind of switching over to being XJL Heartland, and then we became the Heroes Alliance. And then one of those members have even retired. So Phoenix is retired. So Patrioteer, formerly known as Crusader Prime, was on patch, and they were running Chicago Hope. When we became the XGL Heartland and then the Heroes Alliance, with Patrioteer basically heading up Hope with Patch, he kind of just continued it on this team. And to be completely honest, there's very little work that I actually do for Hope. That mostly lands on Patrioteer's shoulders, and hopefully, if he has any plans of retiring in the next 10 years, I hope he kind of trains us up on how to take those reins from him so we can keep Chicago Hope going for many years to come.
What is it like being married and being a superhero?
So it's a challenge. I'm actually in my second marriage. My first marriage was not entirely supportive of me being the animal, only because she saw what I was going through with the Michigan Protectors. And I do remember that she had a thought one night, because I went to the midnight premiere of The Dark Knight Rises. Nope, is that it? Dark Knight, yeah, The Dark Knight Rises. That's the third one. And she heard about the attack that happened in the movie theater, not realizing that it wasn't the movie theater I was at. But she told me that she remembers that she actually got mad at me, because she imagined a scenario where that happened, and she knew that I would do anything to try to stop that person and probably end up getting myself killed. Fast forward to that marriage ending. I'm now in my second marriage, and my wife now has a totally opposite outlook on it. She understands where my heart is. She understands where my mind is, and she understands that, yeah, I probably would stop at nothing to do what I can to stop a hostile situation. All she asks is that I make sure she's safe first, and then I can go. um, and it's kind of, I've gotten to see both sides of it. I've gotten to see someone who would rather me focus on being more selfish with my choices, and I've gotten to see someone who understands who I am and fully supports this. So I'm happy to say, right now, being married as the animal is one of the easiest things, because I have a partner who I know always supports what I'm doing, and yeah, I love her very much.
Do you refer to your supersuit as a costume or a uniform?
I refer to it as a uniform. I know the new age heroes call it a costume, and I've and I've come to ease up on the my form of thinking on that. When I first started, I think real life superheroes took this way more seriously than they do today. And that's not to say that the newbies don't take it seriously. So please, commenters, allow me to explain. We took ourselves. I don't want to use the word edgy, but we took ourselves seriously to where, like, it's not a costume because a costume insinuates you're faking, you're pretending. A costume is almost belittling or looking down upon the work that we are doing if we were to call this a costume. That is the mindset that real life superheroes had back in the day. And, you know, just like a boomer, you know, it's hard to change their ways, change their minds on things. I've kind of had to undo some of that thinking. I realized today the reason why it's okay to call it a costume is because the average everyday person is going to call it a costume. They're not going to think uniform, you know, they're going to call it a costume. And if you're taking the time to be like, no, 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 it's a uniform. If it's a costume, it means I'm pretending. You're building that wall. You're pushing them away, and almost discouraging to have them open their mind to it. And I mean, we're a bunch of people who dress up as superheroes to help people. We shouldn't be taking ourselves so seriously. You know, it's so even though I still personally call it a uniform, that mostly comes from my history of doing this. And I have accepted the term costume for what we wear when on patrol.
Do you have any advice for keeping a passion for the RLSH work throughout the years?
I'm not gonna lie. There are times where I've wanted to quit. There are times where I've wanted to hang up the cape and cowl, so to speak. And I mean that mostly comes from the idea we call ourselves real life superheroes. So the real life comes before the superhero. And if you're not taking care of yourself, then you can't really continue to be a superhero. So there were times where I wasn't really taking care of myself and I was throwing everything into hero work. And overall that just hurt things. So first off, make sure you're taking care of yourself. The real life comes before the superhero. Secondly, be genuinely passionate about the work you're doing. Yes, putting on the uniform is fun. Being a superhero is fun. But if that's why you're doing it, you are going to burn out. You're going to give up because you're not doing it for the right reasons. You're not doing it because you're wanting to help people. You're just doing it to cosplay. And I would say that's the biggest advice I can give. If you're going to do this and you want to do it for the rest of your life, be genuinely passionate about the work you're doing.
Would you say that the animal is a persona, or is it something more than that?
Again, back in my day, a lot of real life superheroes back in the day had what we kind of dubbed as Batman syndrome. And by that, what we mean is there's an episode of Batman Beyond where old man Bruce Wayne basically has a speaker attached to his head that's talking to him and antagonizing him, you know, Bruce, Bruce. And it was making it look like Bruce was crazy. Everyone was thinking Bruce was going crazy. Well, by the end of the episode, when everything's wrapped up and we figured it out, the new Batman asked Bruce, "Well, how did you know you weren't going crazy?" And Bruce said, "Because in my head, I don't call myself Bruce," insinuating in his head he is Batman. Um, and that is how a lot of us came into this back in the day. For a long time, in my head, I didn't call myself by my name. I called myself Animal. When and I've worked through a lot of that. Now I do tend to call myself by my given name, but in a lot of ways, the Animal has allowed me to be uh, a more pure version of myself. It has allowed me to put on a mask to remove a mask, you know. Um, and so no, I wouldn't necessarily say the Animal is a persona. I would say more so who I am under the suit is more of a persona, because it's also a lot easier for me to be the person I want to be as the Animal. It's a lot easier for me to look in a mirror and see, um, kids are watching me right now. I need to be the better person that I need to be, um, to inspire them, to show them the right way. When I'm not wearing this, it's a lot easier for me to not care, I guess. And I guess from a certain point of view, you could say, well, no, that means the Animal is a persona and you fake being a better person because you're looking like a superhero. But I don't know. I would disagree with that. I would say the Animal is the real me, and outside of being the Animal, um, it's not the me that I want to be all the
Hmm.
time.
Do you have anything you would like to say about your earliest experiences of being a part of RLSH? Like, what was it like starting so young?
Um, I would say it's probably a good thing that when I came into the community, I didn't advertise how old I was, because um, they would probably be doing, they probably would have done to me what I'm doing to younger age people trying to do it now. And that's like really trying to encourage them, wait until you're 18, um, because there's a whole lot of headache when it comes to non-adult real life superheroes. Um, and so again, that's another thing where I'm kind of a hypocrite for saying this. I do remember being younger when I first started. Uh, I had a different idea of what being a real life superhero was, and I'm sure that came out in the way I spoke and whatnot. Um, I won't name names, but like there were real life superheroes that were more established that kind of, I think, could tell how immature I was back then, and didn't necessarily speak to me as politely as I would speak to a newer real life superhero. Um, but I think it was also more common for newer people to fizzle out, so it was um, easier to be more cautious when trying to build relationships. Um, I feel like I've kind of gone a weird roundabout way to your initial question. Some of my earliest experiences, it has never not been great being the Animal. Um, when I first started, again, I had a bigger idea of what being a real life superhero was going to be. I thought I was going to be like Batman and go in, beat up a bad guy, leave before the cops arrive, you know. Very quickly I realized that's just not reality. And so um, that's why my first mission was a litter patrol, because I realized that's just not how it actually works. Um, if you are going to crime patrol, it's mostly right place, right time. It is not like the comic books where you get an alert and you swoop in at the right spot at the right time. It's a lot of luck if you're going to crime patrol, and so that's why I turned my focus elsewhere.
Mm. Well, I would like to thank you for taking the time to join me before getting to our final three questions. So thank you, Animal. Your work is very inspiring, and so is just learning about how long you've been doing this and how you have kept the passion for this kind of community work after all these years. I really appreciate that. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's always fun having a discussion with someone who gets it. It's always good having a conversation with someone who's not trying to find the cracks in what you're talking about and tear down your whole thought process of being a real life superhero, which unfortunately I have come across a couple times. So
Mm.
thank you for inviting me on. This has been great.
So one of our final questions is, do you have an origin story? Like, what is your origin story?
Yeah. So as I said, I grew up with not the greatest of role models. Learned about right from wrong from comic books, and I created the character of the animal before realizing that I could become the animal. And I remember one night I heard sirens um, go by my house, and my gut feeling, everything in me said, "Go, go, see what you can do. How can you help?" And then I let that voice in my head say, "What can you do? You're not going to do anything." And I kind of just ignored it, and I went to bed. The next day, I found that my cousin had burned in a fire and died. And even though now I understand there's nothing I could have done. I was a freshman in high school. There's probably nothing I could have done to change the outcome. Back then, it hit hard. It left an imprint on me of, if I feel I can do something, it is my responsibility to try to do something.
Mm.
And that really is the night that the animal was born.
What would you like to say to someone who feels powerless in the face of the world's adversities?
I would I would like to inspire them with my life motto. Whenever I am faced with a situation, whenever I put on this suit and go out to try to make the world a better place, I kind of say this to myself, and that is, never give up hope, always take a stand, don't forget your promises, protect your fellow man. Always tell the truth, lend out a helping hand. If nothing else, remember this: I'm a guardian. And I take that into anytime I face a situation to remind myself that there's always hope. There's always a chance to keep fighting. And as long as there's air in your lungs, there's a chance for you to get out of whatever situation you're in.
Okay. Well, one of the last questions we have is, who is your secret identity? But that's kind of public information for you. So I guess that would be it.
Yeah, if you Yeah, if you really wanted to hunt it down, you can find it. But of course, no, I'm not gonna do that. Um, but uh, but yeah, if you really want to hunt it down, you can. I promise you, there's nothing special about the person that's under this mask. Um, the only thing that's special about me is the fact that I go out and I try to do whatever I can to help people. And the only reason that makes me special is because I do it. If you're watching this, that can be you. Yeah, there's nothing stopping you from going out and making your small part of your world a better place. And that's all I have to say on that.
Well, I'm sure that there's a hero in training out there that would very much appreciate those words. Thank you, Animal. Thank you for having me on, or thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. Um, yeah, this has been a great conversation, like I said. And you really are doing some great work here on the Dandy Bugle. I want you to know I've been enjoying your content very much. It's been very educational, and very well done, as far as content goes.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Bye, Animal.